former UFC fighter. I think some of you don't know who I am, but I this went off. I work in the UFC for the past 4 years, and for the past 2 years, I have been working with Jiu-Jitsu, which is my passion. So now I'm the senior director of the Jiu-Jitsu strategy and business development for the UFC, and I have the coaches for UFC BJJ road to the title right here, Mikey Musumeci and Rerisson Gabriel with me.
Well, Claudia, I'll start with you. I mean, you said you've been working with BJJ for so long, and, we've seen the UFC Fight Pass Invitationals, and that's been a big play. There's been a lot of noise in the jiu-jitsu world, even outside the UFC. So I guess how excited are you to kind of get this finally off the ground in UFC BJJ?
I'm super excited. Like, for me, coming from a small town in the northeast Brazil and using jiu-jitsu as the tool to come out of poverty and making all the way up to a top contender in the UFC, retiring from fighting and being the person that helps this show to become what has the potential to be is super exciting for me. And, when I first came into the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, they were doing one-off events, and there were a lot of MMA fighters competing in a jiu-jitsu mat. And my first question was like, why we're not bringing the jiu-jitsu competitors here? Because there's so much talent out there, and I feel like jiu-jitsu needs attention and jiu-jitsu needs a company like the UFC and the people that are behind the UFC putting a lot of energy into that sport to make sure it grows to the sport that has the potential to be. So we brought some of the greatest minds in jiu-jitsu to help with the ruleset, the stage, and we brought guys like this two to make sure we have the talent we need.
And obviously we haven't seen it yet. Are you essentially the Dana White of the UFC BJJ? Like, you're the one that kind of the host and does the face-offs and everything? Like, what's your role on the show?
Yeah, so Dana opens the show, you guys will get to see, and he's there, and I help with the things that he can't do in the show.
And I'll start with the coaches, Mikey. I'll start with you. I guess just what was your experience on the show, and how excited were you to get this launched when the UFC and Fight Pass and everything approached you for this role?
How you doing, first of all? Do you smell that food? It smells amazing. But yeah, it's an honor to be a part of this. I was living in Asia for 3 years, and I really wanted to help our sport grow. And that would give me the most fulfillment if I can make our sport of jiu-jitsu the biggest possible it could be for future people and generations. So that was my whole goal, and moving back from Asia back to home to Vegas, like, that was my whole goal, and to be a part of this right now is insane. Like, this is history. We're doing UFC BJJ 1, just like the beginning with Royce Gracie. And we get to be the first card of that, So it's like such an amazing opportunity for us, and I'm so honored to be a part of it.
Same question.
Hello? Good night, guys. And Claudia and Mike say everything. I'm so excited for this. It's my first time in UFC. I never see nothing about this. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All guys so excited. Having crazy matches, awesome matches, guys. Don't lose this.
Then one more for both coaches, Mikey. I'll start with you. In jiu-jitsu, since this is the first season, I'm sure you've seen some of the competitors at various tournaments or competitions or whatever. So I guess, what was it like to be a coach of guys that you probably knew from the jiu-jitsu scene or trained with or competed against?
Yeah, for sure. We have the best athletes in the world on this show, so I definitely know who they are. I'm definitely aware of who they are because these are the best athletes in the world, and they're fighting to become champions in the UFC, right? So it was amazing, honestly, for me as well. Coming into this match that me and Rerisson have, we had some of the best training partners on both of our teams, right? So we both got the best guys in the world, and honestly, it was just an amazing experience. Like, that, I think, that helped me so much being a coach because I understand what everyone's going through. So I was able to really understand their perspective and kind of control their feelings and emotions at certain times really well as a coach. So I feel like that helped so much, me knowing them and also being a competitor in the same scene as them.
Claudia. One for Claudia. You were obviously a coach on The Ultimate Fighter, right, with Joanna. How different is this just from, like, I guess the athlete perspective? You know, it's a different format, like, in terms of you're doing jiu-jitsu matches, not fighting. Like, the training, I'm sure, is different. Can you just kind of compare what it's like seeing this compared to your experience on Tough?
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. When I coached the Ultimate Fighter, I was on the top of the strawweight division in the UFC. I was doing my investments and building a life outside of fighting on the side, but I wasn't fully invested in business and working for a corporation like I am now. So for me, it's like I was seeing the competition side of it. I was looking at the fighters as my competitors. I was looking at them as a coach, and now I'm looking at the whole thing to make sure Jiu-Jitsu is growing, right? I'm looking at the coaches and the athletes to make sure we all work towards the growth of Jiu-Jitsu, because like I said in the beginning, we needed a company like the UFC to invest in Jiu-Jitsu to make sure this sport grows. The UFC has been around for 35 years, and it's way bigger than Jiu-Jitsu is, and Jiu-Jitsu has been around for over 100 years. So with the marketing and the business power of the UFC, we can take Jiu-Jitsu to a whole different level. And this sport deserves a lot more attention and a lot more organization. So for me, sitting on the chair I'm sitting now, in the position I'm sitting in now, I'm mostly focused on making Jiu-Jitsu grow. And when I see the UFC fully invested and involved in Jiu-Jitsu, you can see the growth of this sport. You can see that long-term, we will take Jiu-Jitsu to the level of the UFC, and who knows, maybe even bigger, because once you train Jiu-Jitsu, it changes your life. It really does. It really does. You see so many people that get addicted to Jiu-Jitsu because there is a reason behind it. You know, Jiu-Jitsu is therapy. It's so good for your mental health. It's so good for your physical health. It's so good for anything, for everything. And if we can get MMA fans and more people hooked to Jiu-Jitsu, this sport will grow. We'll see a lot more Jiu-Jitsu academies all over the world, and this is our goal. This is our goal in the UFC, is to help the sport of Jiu-Jitsu to grow to the potential that it has.
And for both coaches, I guess, what was like some of the stuff you were preaching to your athletes on the show, right? Because in these jiu-jitsu tournaments, you've probably done your whole life. You're doing multiple matches a day, things like that, tournaments. For this, where the stakes are obviously higher and things like that, what were you looking for out of your athletes?
So definitely I was just preaching to my athletes, like on my team, just, again, it's just a normal like tournament, but it's not a normal tournament, because normal tournaments you could win by advantages and points, which nobody wants to see. If you're fighting in the UFC, you have to finish fights. You have to go for submissions. You got to go for kill. I think one thing about Jiu-Jitsu that's insane that nobody really thinks about is how violent it is. MMA fans love violence. And Jiu-Jitsu, if you choke someone and they don't tap, they die. If you go for a joint submission, their arm will literally fall off, or leg. You know, it's a very violent sport. And I think that this rule set that Claudia and Techi and UFC developed, I think that it really makes the violence come out of Jiu-Jitsu, where more people, other than Jiu-Jitsu nerds, could enjoy it. And another thing that Claudia talked about that's amazing is about Jiu-Jitsu, how it's so addicting. But also, more than MMA fans, more people in the world train Jiu-Jitsu. Like the people that are actually doing Jiu-Jitsu actually will watch it, you know? So it's the fastest growing sport of people actually training. So it's just so exciting what we're doing here. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things I said, that we have to finish the matches, thinking about submissions and the finish instead of just trying to win by points or things like that. We can't do that here. It's just about the violence of Jiu-Jitsu.
I think the UFC having amazing rules, because the more important is submission. The more important is submission. And I think I make a good job on UFC, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy because after this, you just go to the other level. Guys, don't lose it. Watch.
Mikey, over here, you've mentioned before that you you're not opposed to maybe going over to MMA eventually, but that first you want to help popularize Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a bit and kind of get it a bit more mainstream. I'd imagine this is quite a big step in that direction then.
Yeah, absolutely. One day if my path makes me, I'll go to MMA, but right now God gave me this gift and path to do Jiu-Jitsu. I'm in New Jersey again. I grew up in New Jersey. When I was 4 years old, I started Jiu-Jitsu here in New Jersey. Then I ended up 24 years staying in this sport, traveling the world, ending up back in New Jersey, us doing this grappling program and being a part of UFC BJJ 1. So, you know, like, it's so cool to be a part of that. And yeah, that will give me the most fulfillment right now, is just helping our sport grow, where we have a steady, stable platform with like professional athletes that we could become, with drug testing, with not connections of, oh, I'm friends with this person, so I get to fight in this, and then another card will fall apart because some investor falls through. Like, it's a circus right now in Jiu-Jitsu. We're creating an actual professional platform for people. So anyone that complains about that, they just don't have the best interest in mind for Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, maybe they'll have money short term for like a year or two, then it'll fall apart from their investor losing money, and then it'll just go again to the next one, right? So I just want us to have a stable platform, professional, which we're doing with Jiu-Jitsu right now, which Claudia and Techi are doing an amazing job, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it.
For sure. I suppose, like, when guys like call you out and stuff, like for these MMA fights and all that, do you ever train? Like, do you ever work on the striking or anything like that, or are you fully laser focused on the Jiu-Jitsu side of things?
I love Muay Thai. I started actually doing Muay Thai as a kid in New Jersey. I did Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and then I lived in Thailand and Singapore for 3 years training Muay Thai. So I have some Muay Thai experience. I definitely have the amazing people that would help me if I wanted to go into MMA, like Gilbert Durino Burns, my best friend Rod Ting, who is a Muay Thai world champion, Brand Moreno I train with a lot. So I have so many people that would help me if I ever wanted to make that transition. But again, right now, my focus is just us making this sport the biggest possible and creating this platform for other people. That's what gives me the most fulfillment at the moment.
Thank you.
Here, over here. Oh, all right. My first question is for Mikey. Mikey, how does it feel knowing you've become such a huge part of Jiu-Jitsu history and helped shape the modern game?
It's just insane, you know, like I said before to him, that I started here in New Jersey, and getting interviewed by you guys here is just so amazing. It's like UFC 1 with Royce Gracie, right? Like, that was the beginning of UFC, and now we're doing that again, you know? So I just know, looking back, I'll be really happy with what I've done with my life, you know? I already won in my life most of the titles I wanted, but now the biggest title in my mind is becoming a UFC champion. You know, I think that's going to be it's going to be the most prestigious title in Jiu-Jitsu. You know, there were many titles before this, like Worlds, ADCC, like more amateur competitions. Now we actually have a professional platform, and this will be the professional thing that people grow up wanting to do. And they'll actually have a stable career to do it. It won't just be like a circus like it is now. So to be helping shape that is all I could ask for in my life. That gives me so much fulfillment.
My second question is for all of you guys. Do you think we could see Dillon Danis join?
I think Mikey just kind of answered that question when he said that we are not playing with circus here.
John Armour here from Tunnel Vision Sports for Mikey. You kind of mentioned multiple times being from Jersey, just kind of being back in Jersey, kind of having that support a little bit, the energy out there. You know, can you kind of just talk about that and how full circle it is?
Yeah, I mean, I get stopped for pictures every second now. Like, people really recognize me, and I do jiu-jitsu, you know? So we're doing something right. You know, like, when can you see a jiu-jitsu person that's never fought MMA or anything like that, and they're getting stopped for pictures every second, and people are fans of me, and they know me. So, like, again, being home and getting love like that is just so awesome. My area code's still 732, by the way. So I am still New Jersey. But, yeah, it's just amazing. Like, we're definitely doing the right things, and we're setting this platform up for other jiu-jitsu people to have this ability to become famous and have opportunities with sponsors, endorsements, all these different things that would not exist back in the day. So Claudia is the one that's like incredible. Like, we're so grateful for her for leading this and making it the best it could be, you know. But back in the day, all the jiu-jitsu people, like Claudia, they had to go to MMA to make money. Now she's making this platform for us where we don't have to switch over to MMA. We can if we want in the future, but we don't need to. We could just do jiu-jitsu, which we love, and we can make money we could inspire others to do jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu will help others in their life. There's so many addictions, so many bad things like that people struggle with, like PTSD and all these things. And when they train jiu-jitsu, it just magically cures these things. So the more people we can get training, the more impact we have on others. So that's why this is such a beautiful thing, us working to make this platform to give people careers, but also have impact on others to train jiu-jitsu and to better people's lives.
Mikey, I'm sure you're very familiar with the cast and everyone on it. Is there a specific match you're looking forward to seeing most, even though there aren't any announced yet? Is there one that you're like, that one has to happen?
I plead the fifth.
I just want more. Claudia, just to clarify, in The Ultimate Fighter, the winner gets a UFC contract. So I guess what does the winner of this season, for the fans that want to watch?
So here we got the best guys in the world. So imagine the lightweight division in the UFC and the welterweight division in the UFC going to a house, and the winner becomes the UFC champion. That's what we did to Jiu-Jitsu, and the lightweight champion of the finale of this reality TV show will become the first lightweight UFC BJJ champion. The welterweight, the same thing, and then Mikey and Rerisson fight for the first bantamweight title for UFC BJJ.
And then just one last one for Rerisson. Mikey's getting a lot of the questions. He's very popular in the UFC world. Claudia fought in the UFC. I don't know if a lot of MMA fans are familiar with your skills. Obviously, I think you're very popular with the diehard Jiu-Jitsu fans. So are you ready for maybe your kind of life to change? Because a lot of fight fans are now going to know who you are alongside Mikey and Claudia.
I watched this guy today. He's really famous. He shakes hands out, every time. And I'm very happy for fight with Mike, because I watch him since my blue belt, and today I have a chance to fight with this guy. And I think with this opportunity, I can change my life. I change my life, my family, and I'm very happy to be here, guys. I'm very happy. I say just thanks for the UFC BJJ, for the Claudia, and every UFC. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.